Hey guys, welcome back. I'm going to do just a quick overview. Well, it won't be quick, might be long. I don't know, of that Distillery Series. Um, Quick series overview, I guess. Uh, my thoughts on it, and most of them are worth the $5. Honestly, not as a fragrance, as an air fresheners or for your a humidifier, something like that for spray on your bedding in your car. Uh, Yeah, they're perfectly fine for that because that's what most of them smell like. The only one that was any good, honestly, that I would actually go out of my way to buy and wear was the Tennessee whiskey. The kind of spiced, powdery, kind of sweet, amber, like vanilla. Um, it's not bad at all, actually, for the price you can pay for this, $5 or $10. Surprisingly good. The quality, well, again, not top end designer. It's kind of right there with your lower end designers, your Calvin Kleins and your, you know, uh, Davidoffs. Not that they don't do good fragrances, because when they do them good, they're really good. But they punch out so many of them, so you know what I mean, so cheaply. Um, Something like Davidoff, Calvin Klein, Perry Ellis, ones like that. It's in that kind of quality. So, but the rest of them, I mean, Kentucky bourbon was okay. Kind of had that fierce kind of smell to me, that sharp, clean lavender. Uh, but there's so many fragrances out there, relatively cheap with that kind of lavender DNA type thing that, but for $5, it was okay. Um, the stout one that I just wore yesterday, that was again, for me, it's okay. For most people, it's not going to be because it's very floral. Maybe even, I don't know if I said it in my review, but maybe even some people might find it a little grandma ish, and not even in a perfume way, but more like a grandma potpourri. I mean, uh, those of you who grew up in the 80s into the 90s know what I mean when I say Nan's always had that dried potpourri bowl. Uh, Kind of that kind of floral bouquet. A little bit of masculinity with the musk and the. But anyway, yeah, they're okay, but the only one I would actually recommend if you wanted to buy one would be the Kentucky whiskey. Or uh, Tennessee whiskey, Kentucky whiskey. Tennessee whiskey? I'm saying again, I'm sorry. US one? Yeah. The rest of them, I mean, they kind of just fall off after this one pretty much. Even the next one, which would probably be the Kentucky bourbon, just compared to the smell and the quality, just kind of. I don't know. This is number one. I don't know if that's how they did them, release them that way, and they knew they'd get you hooked or whatever. But they seem to put all their money into this one, and then kind of just shoveled the other ones out there. Shovelware, I guess they used to call it in video game terms. I don't know if they still do, but they just pushed crap out. Hope you buy it based on the name. Um, but for $5 or $10, even the $20 or so they're asking for it retail on their website, it's worth it. I wouldn't pay any more than that, but yeah. But yeah, the rest of them kind of just. See, the rest of them were all citrus based for the most part, citrus heavy, and the citrus they use, and it makes sense if you think about it. Is they smell uh, cleaner like, detergent like, furniture wax like. It makes sense because they're probably using the same citrus oils or synthetic citruses that those things are using, and where they smell fine for a soap, not so much for a fragrance. Um, like you don't mind if your socks and underwear smell like your lemon fabric softener, but you don't want your cologne to, and that's kind of where it is. They probably kind of just using the same kind of ingredients, right? It's really so the house in general. No, don't even bother, guys. Honestly, I mean, unless you're like me and just want to collect them, I don't think most of you are going to like them. I could be wrong, and I'm not against cheap fragrances, and they're not even preferred. I love preferred when they do it good. They do it good. When they do it bad, whew, they're bad, and and then it's not a full house review because I don't have tennis or the tequila one, but it just kind of looks like a cheap tropical scent. So, but yeah, the rest of them kind of just. I don't know. They just kind of. 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 I don't think I'm missing anything. I'm not going out of my way to get it. If I see it somewhere, I'd buy it, but I'm not going to go actively looking for it. But I mean, I've got 9 out of the 10, so it's as complete as you can get. And yeah, out of the 9 out of the 10, only one is wearable, really, and that's the Tennessee whiskey. Kentucky bourbon and stout are okay, but the other ones, just like I said, just also citrus, cheap citrus heavy. They're gross as a fragrance. They're not bad. Like I'll use them as an air freshener, really, honestly, or a fabric freshener of some sort. But yeah, put them in my diffuser, and they'll be fine for that. But no, not as a fragrance, not to wear. And I was so excited because it sounded like such a cool idea. Base a fragrance off of a spirit, an alcohol, and then the first one I sprayed, the first one I smelled, Tennessee whiskey. Of course, well, not a whiskey scent. There is a bit of a boozy vibe to it, but I wouldn't call it a whiskey scent or even a boozy scent. It's just kind of a hint. I was like, oh, okay, well, this is, I can kind of see where they're coming from. And then the rest of them it went from this to this to this, you know what I mean? Real quick. And, but yeah, I was so excited. Like I said, I used the first one. I was like, all right, yeah, I really like this. These are going to be great. And then, like I said, I went from one high to one low, just like that. And it was a struggle this last 2 weeks getting through this. It was like, oh, I don't want to wear this today. I'd spray it on. I just want to put something else on. But I did it for you, not you. I don't like you, but you, and the rest is, but not you. Like I said, I don't like you. Yeah, yeah. And the germ of a great idea is there. Do you know what I mean? Like, I would love to see a decent designer house. Doesn't have to be the top. And I don't even want it to be someone like Dior or YSL or Chanel, because they're just gonna charge you through the roof for it. But someone like a Barbados, Versace, you know, even a Calvin Klein, to take that idea, because the idea, like I said, the germ is there. It's a beautiful idea. A distillery series. Could you imagine if Azaro did it? Like, they'd be good fragrances and base them off the alcohol. That would be nice, like a whiskey fragrance, a rum fragrance, a spiced rum fragrance, a coconut rum fragrance, a red wine fragrance, white wine fragrance, a spiced wine, a port. Um, yeah, I'd probably stay away from the ales and the IPA, the beers. Beer doesn't really smell good to most people. Not as a fragrance anyway. But then you've got cognac, bourbon, scotch, single malt. I mean, you've got so much you could do there. It would be, I think it would be incredible, honestly. If, like I said, someone like an Azaro, because they tend to make decent fragrances at a decent price, or if Calvin Klein put a little time and effort into it, they can make a decent fragrance at a decent price. You know, Versace, same thing. I mean, Barbados. I mean, if one of them did this series, I would have. It would be, and did it right. Like I said, actually made the booze, just not gave it a name. Because Kentucky bourbon has nothing to do with sharp lavender. You know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Kentucky bourbon smells, but any bourbon I've ever had, whether it be Kentucky or not, didn't remind me of lavender. And citrus doesn't remind me of stout, doesn't remind me of ale, doesn't remind me of lager, doesn't remind me of all of it. Just it doesn't. Uh, so I hope somebody with a little more capital, shall we say, and a little more cachet in the industry will take hold of this idea, this concept, of a, because it'd be great. You imagine you could do 20 different fragrances and every one of them be different from each other and still be great. Like a whiskey fragrance and a spiced wine fragrance. I mean, now I know there's fragrances out there that do that, but I mean, actually make them the focal point. spray yourself and immediately be hit with that whiskey vibe. Not just whiskey. I mean, you don't want to smell like you just crawled out of the bar at 2:30 in the morning, lonely because you couldn't pick up anybody. Just at Subway, get the sandwich. I'm lonely. Give me a cold cut. My fat ass wants foot long. you know. But yeah, no, don't go with these guys. Guys, just get the Tennessee whiskey. Maybe, like I said, the Kentucky bourbon. If you want something a little lighter than the Tennessee whiskey, but the rest of them you can just, you know, save buy a coffee at Starbucks, $5. I mean, whatever you like, or something. No, don't even bother, guys. And preferred if you watch this, I'm sorry, you got to do better. You got to just scrap this whole damn line and come out with it again, even if you want to do it and do it right. Put a little money behind it. Charge us $30 or $40 for them. We'll pay it if it's half decent. That's the thing. Even if 40 or $50, if they come out and they're half decent, I'd pay for it. I don't care whose name's on it. You give me a gorgeous spiced rum, coconutty kind of fragrance, I would rock the shit out of that. You give me a nice, warm, sweet cherry bourbon kind of fragrance. Oh, yeah. Imagine. Gorgeous. Put a little money behind it. I mean, you do have a lot of money. People don't realize how big this preferred company is. I didn't realize it either until I did a little research. They got a lot of money. They do a lot of stuff. So just put a little money behind it. Scrap this one. Do it again. Make it good. All right, guys. Peace. Love. Be good to each other and be good to yourselves.